Jake DeLong here with Relive the Moment, here with Mr. Chris Motionless from Motionless and White.
Number 3.
Yeah, interview number 3, man.
Let's make this one 3 hours long.
This one is kind of way past due, though. We last sat down in 2011. I feel like there's a lot of, unfinished business, or there's definitely been a lot that's happened in your guys' career and life that I'd like to cover. So, I guess let me just start off with saying that Infamous turned out great.
Yeah?
You guys did a great job.
Thank
and
you.
I'm really proud of you guys for it.
Many people would beg to differ.
Why is that? I mean, is that the feedback that you guys have gotten?
I don't exactly go looking for it, but there has been quite a few displeased fans, especially in the beginning, but I mean, it doesn't really affect me. It's just funny to see how many people didn't like it, but fortunately, now it's been out for a while, and the people that are still around are mostly the ones that did or that tolerated it enough to stick with our band for the time being, so that's fine with me.
What is it about that they're saying that they don't like? Is it the fact that well, obviously you guys grew, which people don't like.
Yeah.
They don't like it when you change anything about your sound.
They don't like
right?
They don't like when a band changes or stays the same, so it's just a never-ending gray area of you're fucked, So I don't know. I think it's just a lot of people didn't like the change. I think there's a lot of other things that they didn't take the time to listen to and enjoy, or I guess it's more so I feel like people don't listen to music anymore to enjoy it. They listen to it to criticize it and find every little thing that they don't like about it or that's wrong with it, and that's it. Like, there's no one that's willing to listen to music anymore and be like, yeah, that sounds cool, or anything like that. It's just like, this sounds like this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And it's just like, just fuck off, so whatever.
I hate to admit it, but my YouTube channel's awful for that.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
that's all YouTube is just a bitch session.
Yep.
And people it's like, if you don't listen to it, why are you here? And that's all people do.
The reality is that they do listen to it. It's that, it's like hard for people to say that they like something, because then it's just going to be, you're going to get looked at. Like, if I feel like a lot of people don't say that they like certain bands because the reaction they'll get from other people or their friends or whatever. But if they say that they hate it and this sucks and whatever, then it's just like, it just fits in with the other category of people that don't like it, and then they're somewhat accepted in this world of hatred for music.
Like, it's the cool thing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys, speaking of new music, when are you guys getting back in the studio and record the follow-up?
Right after this tour.
All right.
Yeah, we pretty much have, I think, 2 weeks left, and then we're going in. We have 8 weeks in the studio to record with this dude Dan Cornath, who I've been waiting to record with for a long time. So it's gonna be an experience.
So no more Tim Skoll, Jason Sukoff?
No, I've worked with Tim on this record. He's like another partial producer.
Okay. All right.
But I've already worked with him. I went to California January and February to work with just different people, as writing partners and stuff that I work with, and while at the same time Ricky being at home for me to kind of bounce my ideas off of him. So it's just been a process of really taking what I wanted to do and working with people that get what I want to do, and making that a whole different level than I could have done myself. So Tim and I worked at, I think, 4 songs that are different than the stuff I did with him last time. So it's definitely more, it's less of what people didn't like about the other songs. So yeah, I like them. I think it's gonna be cool. No Sukoff though.
How do they come together? How do the songs come together? Are you guys kind of are you guys all together in the studio? Are you there? Are you on the phone with Ricky?
No, it's just I write predominantly most of the music and everything that is the band. So I take whatever my ideas are, the thoughts in my head, or the goals I want to accomplish, and then I'll go work with people that really get that. Like this, the number one person I work with is my friend Mick Kenny, who he's in a few different bands himself, but that dude is just a genius with everything that he touches, and it's like everything happens so fast. I'm like, dude, let's try this. Okay, done. It's like, how did that even happen? So I'll have a guitar part in mind, and we'll lay a beat down, and then out of nowhere comes the synth, and then the electronic stuff to it just happens. And I'm really, really, really shocked at the progress that the record has had so far, because last one, Infamous, I was so stressed out and I was so worried about so many different things, and I went in there and I think you can tell in the music that there's a lot of stress. Not that that's a bad thing, because then it's somewhat of a release to that, but this one was just like boom, like one after another after another after another. Songs just kept coming out, and it was like, you know, all my stresses melted away after the first two, and it really opened up like the creative waterfall of shit that just came out. And that was Mick. And the same thing happened with Tim. I worked with my friend Eric Ron, who's done a few records that I like. Me and him worked on some more toned down stuff, a little bit more like radio style songs. And then Ricky was back at home, so there'd be a lot of parts where I would be like, hey dude, I need something here, take a shot at it, and he would work on it and send it to me, and it was great. So yeah.
Do you feel like the popularity that you guys have gained has helped you to be able to achieve that, going to the producers that you might not have been able to access before?
Not really, because we're not working with people that are hard to, like untouchable. It's not like I'm trying to work with Terry Date or, you know, these massive producers that have done big shit. I'm working with people on a smaller level that get what I'm doing, and that to me is way more valuable than having the name attached to the record, you know? Like, rather than spending $100K on a fucking record to do produced by this person, I'd much rather work with the people that are under the rug that really know how to do what I want, and then create a record that sounds badass instead of sounds okay. Or not that those other bigger dudes can't put out a great record, because they have time and time again, but that's just not how I work, man. I keep everything at a level that is comfortable with me, and then with people that I feel intellectually on the same level as, and that's what works.
Okay. As far as new music, you guys do have a new song coming out, an old song, Du Hast.
Yeah.
Covered it for Punk Goes 90s Volume 2.
Yep.
Tell me how you guys ended up selecting that song. I mean, when I looked at it, I'm like, that's the perfect song for you guys.
Really? Okay.
So that was my first thought, but I mean, just tell me about that process.
Well, I mean, we've never been a part of those records because we felt like it wasn't exactly the best, not look for us, but it wasn't the best, like, you know, nobody wants to hear our band covering pop songs, and we don't want to cover that shit.
I agree.
So it's just, the 90s had some great hits by some great bands that we're very into, you know, like Korn, and, you know, even bands like Limp Bizkit, Orgy, Kid, you know, all those kinds of bands that shaped a lot of what the newer bands have become. So originally we wanted to do Freak on a Leash, and then it kind of changed over to let's do Break Stuff and Limp Bizkit. Songs that we could have made heavier,
yeah,
but we're showing off our influences. Like Korn is a huge influence, so let's do that. But then we're like, there's really nothing you can do with those songs besides make them heavier, and it was like, we feel like if we did Break Stuff, it kind of would have come off as like more of a joke than something serious, and if we wanted to cover a song, we wanted to do it, you know, in a way where it'd be like, you know, a real song that you could listen to instead of just a laugh track. So we were talking about ideas, and Balls kind of was like, let's do Rammstein, and I didn't even know that came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
I thought it was like early
97.
Yeah, I thought it was early 2000s. So ran it by Fearless, and they said yeah, and we were like, fuck yeah, let's do it. So I recorded that one with Mick as well, and it's definitely a heavier take on the original song. We didn't want to change it too much because, once again, when you cover a song, if you keep it too close to the original, everyone bitches about it. If you change it too much, everyone bitches about it. So we're just like, fuck you, we're gonna make it heavier, and that's really all that's different. You know, I did my vocal style on it, we kept it heavier, and yeah, it is what it is. It's a cover, and people are gonna bitch about it no matter what, just like everything else. So fuck you and enjoy.
You kept the German, right?
Oh yeah, that was another reason why I really thought that it was appealing, because if we're gonna do a cover, let's do something really kind of out of the box. And me singing in German was a really interesting couple hours of my life.
Well, the song's atrocious in English. Have you ever heard the English
Yeah,
version?
I've heard it, but
it's like,
yeah,
oh my God,
yeah, it's terrible. Yeah.
You know, when I figured out that you guys were doing Du Hast, I was reminded of, have you ever seen the book for Rammstein, the Sen Sucked book, the album that was on, where those guys all have the sick-ass dental stuff on their faces? I could see you guys doing something like that.
Yeah, I think...
no offense, I mean,
no.
I'm just saying that's like kind of like...
Yes, that's definitely the route that it's taking, you know, we're shooting from more of that like big image, very art. Like I consider that to be somewhat of an artsy style booklet, and that's definitely where we're headed. You know, we're not all about the illustrated, cartoony shit anymore. So,
since we're still on the topic of studios, I know you guys were just doing some gang vocals for "Stick to Your Guns."
I unfortunately was not able to do that.
Really?
I was in the studio that day with Tim while they went to go do that. So that's kind of heartbreaking, but whatever.
I guess you can't speak about it.
No, they can't. I mean, we can get Ricky to join on in really quickly if you want. Sit down and join us.
It's up to Ricky if you want to see. He's shaking his head now. Well, this isn't about Stick to Your Guns, it's about you guys, but I do have to say something about Stick to Your Guns, because obviously I'm a mark for him. I'm wearing some kind of Hope shirt for Jesse, and when you guys were on the Infamous tour, you guys brought Stick to Your Guns with you, which was an amazing pairing. I loved it.
Yep.
And, you know, when Jesse goes off and he tells it like it is between songs, I remember you saying, when Jesse speaks, the room listens. And the same people that talk shit, they come on those things and they go, shut the fuck up, stop talking and play music. And I'm just like, why? You know, this guy has a message. Jesse is incredible. It just drives me nuts.
I can't say enough about him or that band. I mean, I'm sure by now everyone knows how much we love and support everything that they do. So to see anyone have any negative opinion about them, if you don't like their music, fine, but you cannot deny what that band is as a whole. And there are definitely some people that I would support till my fucking dying day. So yeah, anyone who has anything bad to say about them can kindly unzip my pants and put my dick in their mouth.
I wasn't prepared for that comment. Are you guys planning on doing another tour together? Is that a possibility?
We are. I'm not giving any details about it, but yeah, we there's a fairly good chance that people might see us together again this year. So.
Well, I do know you guys are announced for Warped Tour. Mm-hmm. You guys did Warped Tour in 2012 also, right?
Yep.
I want you to take a minute to explain to the people watching this video right here how chaotic Warped Tour is for you. Because I remember that I didn't get to go to Warped Tour, unfortunately, but I know that you made like a long, lengthy blog post on your Tumblr, I think it was, based on, hey, my day's fucking chaotic. If I don't take a moment to say hi to you or whatever, it's because of the way Warped Tour is.
Yeah.
And I don't think people really understand.
No one's ever going to really understand anything. They think you're in a band and that you are there solely to please them in every imaginable way that they can think of, you know. But whatever. I'm not gonna bitch about that. I'm grateful for our fans and.
Well, just take a moment to explain then why Warped Tour is so much different than a show like this, you know, where they might catch you hanging out at the merch table or, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Warped Tour is so much different because of the scheduling, and maybe you'd like to elaborate.
First off, I mean, it starts off with the fact that you have no idea what your schedule for that day is until you wake up. So it's, you know, it's every day for 40 plus shows is the most hectic day of your life, because you wake up and you're like, oh shit, I could be playing in an hour, I could be playing in 8 hours. But then aside from your time slot of where you're playing, you have signings. You have to wait in a fucking 2-hour long line for catering every day to get your food, and then you have to be somewhere really quickly to eat, then get ready for the next thing you have going on, whether it's, like I said, signing, playing, warming up, getting ready. We're a band that takes 2 hours to get ready, warm up, and get on stage and all that kind of shit. So it's a constant, hectic, chaotic process, like I said, every single day. And when you're walking through people as fast as you can to try to get back to your bus with a plate full of food, and people come over there, they don't realize that when you stop for one person, it's the Walking Dead, man. Everyone sees that they don't care who the fuck you are, they just see that you're in a band, and then it's just swarms of people that will come over. And if you let one go, 200 will form at Warped Tour. That's different here.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't have that kind of time. But if you say that you don't have the time, you're instantly the biggest dickbag ever, and it's, yeah, whatever. I don't want to bitch about it because I don't want to sound like I'm ungrateful for the fans. I just wish that people in general were more understanding of the fact that just because you're in a band doesn't mean that you are there to please in every way, and that you're doing nothing. You're just there to stand there, and whoever wants to come up to you can come up and sign 800 fucking things in their smelly ass shoe and take 6,000 fucking pictures with a phone that they don't know how to work. Oh, it's on video, sorry. Oh, I can't get the flash to work. It's like, this shit takes time, and when you have 800 people behind you that also want this stuff, you're trying to get to everybody, but you can't, the reality is you can't. So it is what it is. That's all I have to say about it.
No, you don't come off like a dick, man. It's just I wanted you to be able to address that because it's going to happen again, right?
Yeah, it is, and only a handful of people that watch this video will be the ones there to at Warped, and then there's going to be the 3,000 other people every day that don't see this interview and are going to go on Tumblr and shit talk us for being dickheads, and it's how it is. I've accepted that, and we definitely do not make any effort to care so much about that stuff. We're just going to keep doing what we're going to do, and that's it. So, yeah.
I forgot to ask a question. Are you guys going to play Do House tonight?
No, we have a new drummer now, so it's kind of like we're under the gun to really try to get our set to be able to headline, period, not just to play cover songs. So we have 12 songs, and he's great because he just kind of like came out of nowhere and learned everything really quickly since Brandon left, and yeah, we got 12. That's about it. So we're just gonna put on the show with the songs that we know.
How do you guys go about determining that set list? I mean, you guys have When Love Met Destruction.
Yeah, we're trying to phase out the old shit. Like I know people like it and stuff, but it's such a different. Like on a headliner show, I could see that, yeah, we would probably bring some old stuff back because it's a headliner.
Yeah.
But on a show like this, it's not a priority to us at all to play Burned at Both Ends or Ghost in the Mirror, those old songs, like that's just not who we are anymore. And on a tour like this, that's not what we're willing to do. But a headliner is where you kind of showcase your catalog and where you've come from. So, when we do that again, we'll bring back an old jam. But for right now, it's just trying to play the new stuff one last time before the new cycle starts at the new record, because on Warped Tour we'll be playing new songs and kind of moving on a little bit. We'll still play songs from Creatures and stuff, but the older stuff I can't really see showing up every so often. It'll be rare, but when the time calls.
All right.
Yeah.
During the Infamous tour in 2012, you guys played City Lights, which is one of my favorite songs. Walls loves it, and you stated right on stage that it's one of you don't like the song, right?
Yeah, I hate it.
Why?
I don't know. It's just, we were so young when we did that record, and half the people that are in the band now weren't even in the band then, and I don't like things. When I look back on shit that I've done in the past, all I hear is the things that I hate and that I wish I changed. That song was kind of just written as a track, because we were like, well, we have all these real songs, let's kind of do a slow one as like somewhat of an interlude. But then we were like, let's put some singing on it, and just a song that means nothing to me and that I listen to and I'm embarrassed by, just because it's just not. At the time, I loved it. Now, that's just not where I am in my head anymore. So when I hear it, I'm like, oh, fuck. But I appreciate that people like that song, and there seems to be a lot of people that do, which is why we played it. It's like, well, we're there to play a show for our fans. I'm not listening to my own band play, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play the songs that they wanted to hear and that they didn't ever get to hear before. So that was the decision that went into that set list, was just doing something for the fans that they wanted to really hear.
You said that during that tour, you said that there was only 2 songs left that you hadn't played on Creatures, and that was one of them.
Yep.
What was the other?
.com, I think.
Have you guys,
.com
you
no,
guys
we've
still
never played it. Yeah.
How are you guys doing on Infamous?
There's only been one, coverage. Yeah. Only one, which is weird because it's one of my favorite songs on the record, Burned at Both Ends. It just hasn't seemed to come up yet. It will. We'll end up playing it when we do probably another headliner or something, just to kind of like have another, not new song, but song that people haven't heard before. So. Yeah.
Okay. I have things I wanted to talk about, man.
Keep it rolling.
How am I doing, Walls? What am I missing?
Oh, what are you missing?
Yeah. What did we talk about? I gotta pull out my damn question sheet. I
This
promise-
is unprofessional.
I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. Okay. Perfect. So,
Music video?
yeah. So, I missed a huge opportunity in 2011 when we did the interview. Immaculate Misconception video had just came out.
Mhm.
And you had mentioned at that time that there was quite a few ideas that were left on the cutting room floor or that never made the video. I wonder, in all the new videos that you guys have shot and since then, how many ideas do you have that haven't made it into videos?
I mean, a fair amount, but I think that those ideas were cut partially for reasons that they didn't need to be in there. They weren't really fully developed ideas. A lot of what gets cut from our videos are mostly budget matters. You know, like there's a lot. Well, the way that we do videos is that I think of the concept that I want to do. I write this huge, grandiose list of everything I want. Then once we finally pick a director based on my treatment and my idea, that I'll start calling them back and forth. Like for instance, with Devil's Night, was working with Corey Schneider, and it was more like back and forth. Like, hey, what can we do out of all this budget-wise? What needs to be trimmed out that doesn't make any sense? It just shit like that, and then we end up coming to a happy medium, or we end up agreeing fully on everything that we want to do, and as long as the message gets conveyed or portrayed the way that I originally saw it, then that's fine with me. You know, there's some things that I wish we could have done that would have been really high budget, but I think it's even cooler when you could take something that's not $100,000 and make it look like $100,000. That's art to me. That's what I really enjoy doing with our videos, and what I really appreciate about the directors that we have worked with is that they know how to take something small and make it look huge.
Do you care to divulge any of those ideas that didn't make the cut that you really wanted?
I can't fully remember. I mean, I can't remember exactly I mean, there's things like I wanted to actually be lit on fire, you know, like stuff like that I'm willing to do. That I think we try to make everything that we do in the band as real as possible, and I've felt no holding back from anything that I did want to do. So I wanted to be like, you know, in the Immaculate video, or where we had the crucifixion thing. I thought it would have been awesome if I was actually like lit on fire, like on the cross, but like seriously, yeah. And they were just like, no, we're not going to do that. I was like, fine, you know. But there's that, and then I can't remember for Devil's Night. America was a process and a half, because me and Clown went back and forth for like a month straight, taking all the little vignette stories that were involved in the characters separately, that were supposed to be so much bigger per my original ideas. There were just, you know, some more. It would have been too much to shoot, and it would have had to make the video way longer. But then again, most of my ideas start with, okay, this would be like a short film as a video, like, because I love when bands do that. They'll take the 3-minute song and make a 7-minute video out of it, because you're just giving the fans more than just the song with the video, and that's it. But unfortunately, we've never had the big ass budget to do that. So just, yeah, there's a lot of things I can't recall. A lot of them right now,
That's cool,
which
man.
sucks. But I definitely remember wanting to be lit on fire, though. That would have been sick.
Yeah, that would be up there.
Yeah.
Back in 2011, I keep like a fucking broken record.
Your sheet's right there.
No, back in 2011, during our interview, you guys, I use this term loosely, but you guys were kind of the underdogs at that point. I don't think you are anymore. Like back then, you turned to me and you said, "We're never going to be on the cover of AP magazine."
Mm-hmm. People will call that all the time, actually.
I know.
Yeah. Maybe I said
I do
it.
too.
Maybe I said it for a reason. Maybe it was Yeah, good. Sorry, cut
I mean,
you off.
I don't know what point I'm really driving at, but I mean,
Reverse psychology.
yeah, you guys have exceeded your own expectations based on that, right?
I think, yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone always asks, like, did you ever think you'd be at this point? And I'm always like, well, not exactly. I know that I wanted to be, but I never, you can't say for sure that I knew I would be here. The AP thing, perfect example. Granted, we have never been on the cover of AP, only me.
And it was a split cover too.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, we can't say that fully has happened. I guess we're still not cool enough. We're still not cool enough to be on the cover of AP.
Yeah, fuckers.
Yeah, watch October. There we go. We'll be on it. New record, October issue. Blah blah blah. Yeah, it's humbling, and I think that we certainly act as a band that still thinks that these things are not possible, and that's what keeps us hungry. You know, we're still just as driven now as I was when I was, you know, in starting my first bands when I was 15 and 16. You know, this is what I wanted to do, and now that I'm in a spot where I can do this, it's like even worse for me that I'm just like, oh, I want this. You know, I have, my ambitions are way beyond, or, you know, exceed my limitations for sure. I like that about us. You know, I think that thinking that we're going to be on the cover of AP or Revolver or something like that, and being like, yeah, it'll happen someday, that's not a good way to look at it. That's not going to keep you hungry. That's going to keep you expecting these things to happen, and that's just not how we are. So I like being the underdog, and even if we're not anymore, I like thinking that we are, and I like looking at it like that. You know, the past 2 shows of this tour have been sold out, and that's how I was just like, whoa, really? Like, all right, cool. You know, I'm displeased when they're not, because I feel like we're not doing something right that's bringing people in. But then when it is sold out, I'm like, really? Like, that's all right, cool. Yeah, so it's a weird thing up here.
What are your forward-looking goals? I mean, if you had to specify a few of them, you know, what? I mean, you said your ambitions are greater than
my limitations.
Yeah. So I mean, what?
Well, I mean, I think any band would want to do an arena show with massive production and all that kind of shit. That's number one for us. We're incredibly driven to be able to get to that point where we can really put on the show and spend the big money on the big production, because we have the space and we have the budget. I mean, we're already trying our best. We're doing a little headliner for 2 weeks, and we're about to play South by Southwest and just drop $7,000 on fire and all this pyro stuff and shit just to put on a show, because it's like, well, finally we have an opportunity where they're gonna let us do it because we're one of the 2 headliners and it's on a big stage outdoors. We can do fire. Fuck yes, we're gonna do fire. So it's like every chance we get to do that stuff at the level we're at now, we're gonna do it, whether it costs us $10,000 or not, because that's how much it's in our blood and in our veins to want to put on that show and make people be like, holy shit. You know, like, whether they hated us or not, no one's gonna walk away from watching that set being like, whatever. You know, it's gonna be like eye-opener of how we have concussion bombs, pyro, all this shit going on. It's just like, that's what I want to do every day of our tour, headlining for a lot of people. That's the number one ambition. So I didn't mean to like flex my nuts by saying, yeah, we dropped $7,000. I apologize for that. I had to show you the gravity of where we're at in our heads with wanting to do this shit every day. That's what we did for one show. So that gives people an insight as to how hungry we are to do that, as a normal thing for us. So that's number one. Yeah.
So let's say you land your dream arena tour. Who are the bands who are the ideal bands to be with you on that tour?
I don't know. I mean, at that point,
huge, right?
Yeah, at that point, if we were that big, you know, to be able to do that kind of thing, I mean, of course, I'd bring out Stick to Your Guns just because. Not that would make sense on an arena tour, but I would bring them anyway, just because I want to. Every time we ever headline, I want to bring that band just forever. But I don't know. I guess it depends on who would do it at that size for like direct support and shit. So I have no idea. I'm not gonna say that answer and insult any bands that, yeah. But there's a lot of bands that would. Mostly friends that I think that if we were big enough to do an arena tour, then it wouldn't necessarily matter the support. So that we would bring out bands that we personally really love or that we believe in and shit like that. So.
All right, back to the paper. I only have one more item left on my list, man. And this is kind of just more of a question than anything.
Okay.
It's something that people have pointed out on the videos that I've filmed, of course, as they always do.
Mm-hmm.
You did guest vocals on Upon This Dawning a New Beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people that state, and rightfully so, that the song is super, super similar to Immaculate Misconception.
Okay.
And I guess I mean, obviously, it sounds like maybe the first time you thought of that or heard that.
I mean, I've heard it, and it's not like it's like this distant thought, but I don't give a shit. Like that band has stated a few times that we're very influential towards their music, and they were. Shit like that to me is like, you know, I'm not going to deny at all that a lot of our stuff kind of has it dramatically has the old, you know, early 2000s OC metalcore scene sound to it. Because those are the bands that I love, and that any of our heavy material is going to sound like, it's going to sound like that, because that's where I'm coming from. So to hear a band influenced by our band, not only is just like, whoa, that's, you know, we're not even that kind of big level band that I think could influence other bands. So to hear that, it's like, oh, cool, you know? I'm not the kind of person that's gonna sit there all fucking day and pick apart every band's music and be like, this sounds like this and this sounds like that. Because the reality is, yeah, it does sound like this and it does sound like that. The new Avenged record sounds exactly like the Black Album. Do I give a fuck? No, it sounds sick. Enjoy it. Shut the fuck up and listen to it and enjoy it. You can criticize it all you want, but it hit #1 on the metal charts. And this, and I have a list this long in my phone of shit that sounds like other shit that I specifically wrote down for a question like this to show you that all of your favorite bands sound exactly like older bands. You're just too young and dumb and naive to know the older shit, you know? People, there's not a day goes by where we don't get the Manson thing. I get it, but I have a whole list of songs that all those Manson songs came from that you don't know about, and that's just how it is. And I don't listen to music that way. I listen to music for what it is, and if I like it, I like it, and if I don't, I'm not going to listen to it anymore. It's as simple as that. And no one else is willing to do that, I feel. All the YouTube shit talkers are just too concerned about going on the internet and talking shit. And really, I think another reality is that those are the same kids that are sitting there looking at pictures of their favorite bands jerking off to them. So it's like, fuck you, whatever.
I guess I shouldn't enable people by asking questions like that, but
That's fine.
I mean, every band has their influences. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I think we've kind of went over it before, but if you had to name a few of your influences, who would they be?
Well, I mean, of course, like I said, the OC metalcore scene, like Bleeding Through and As I Lay Dying, 18 Visions, or even the other bands that were involved at that time, like Hymns It Dies Today, those are all of our heavier music influences, no questions asked. The other stuff, you know, I say it all the time, the Slipknots, Mansons, Korns, that kind of shit, it's a big influence for us. And people look at that and it's just automatically we're ripping those bands off, when, like I said, you know, Bleeding Through, listen to At the Gates, Slaughter of the Soul, and then listen to Bleeding Through's This Is Love, This Is Murderous. It's not a rip-off, but you can clearly tell where the influence came from. Listen to In Flames and Darkest Hour, and then listen to At the Gates, Slaughter of the Soul. You'll hear it, it's there. Everybody, it's just generational. You know, I recorded with Sukov and I was like, this is what I want, you know, this song to sound like. And I was saying, like, you know, it has like a big Bleeding Through sound. He's like, oh yeah, At the Gates. I was like, no, it's supposed to kind of have like a Bleeding Through sound. He's like, yeah, At the Gates. And I was like, why do you keep saying that? And it's because when you listen to those bands, you hear that shit. And that's fucking awesome to me, that a band carries on those kinds of influences. And the same thing goes for the other bands, like I mentioned, the Korn, Slipknots, Mansons, blah, blah, blah. People think that I sit in a room and jerk off in my own mouth to fucking listening to Manson records, and it's not how it is. It's just that's what people think. And yeah, of course I'm influenced by the things that he's done, and if you listen to the songs that we did that have that sound, they're different, but no one wants to hear that. So it's a losing battle to try to fight that, and I've accepted that, and I've never to date have said anything about it because I know that it'll just be an argument that will have no end, and it'll never win, and it'll never lose. It's just going to perpetuate people thinking that way, and that's not what I want. I just want to move on, and I'm going to do less of that because of people's ignorance, and there we go. Yeah.
Let's sidestep that for a second. I'm going to completely go off music here for a second because I never asked you questions. What are your favorite TV shows that you like to watch? I'm sorry to ask such cookie-cutter questions, but you know why I'm asking this? I have to be honest, okay? You guys come from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I come from Pennsylvania. I look like I'm Amish. I watch Amish Mafia. What shows do you guys watch? I mean,
Dexter is probably the number one for me and Ricky. Now, unfortunately, that's over.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad was another huge one for us. A lot of us liked it, watched it together. Now that they're over, we've kind of moved on to Hannibal and Bates Motel, and then there's always The Walking Dead. What else? I think that's kind of it. I haven't really been watching. I've even been behind on those since I've been so busy writing. Yeah, I'd say right now Hannibal, Bates, and Walking Dead. So Hannibal's awesome because it's like I love that it's extremely. You have to really think about it. It's extremely psychological, and I like that shit. So that's what I liked about Dexter too.
I've never seen it yet.
It's awesome. And it's like a whole different take than the story that you're used to from like Silence of the Lambs and stuff. So it's great. Yeah. Anything else?
I don't know, man. What do you think?
Whatever, man. I don't know if people sit through the whole thing of these interviews or not, or if they get bored after a little while. So I'd get bored of hearing me talk. So I don't know.
I had a question. Garrett Rapp from the Color Morales, one of my good buddies. He's gonna write a book someday about all his thoughts and life experiences and stuff like that. Can we ever expect anything like that from Chris Motionless?
I don't know who would read it, but I would love to write it just to not expose any truths, but just to fucking finally say the things that I feel like, I slowly do let those real thoughts out. Like, the last blog post that I wrote about the whole "you saved my life" phenomenon thing, that it's stuff like that would be in whatever I would write as a book. But I don't think people enjoy the things I write enough to write a book right now. It'd more so be to just kind of close out my career in music. That would be the last thing that I would do to like kind of cap it off and just add some closure to like finally really say a lot of things. Not that, like I said, not that I don't say the shit that I really want to say, because I do, but it's not a book's worth of stuff. It's just a blog here and there. I think a lot of people would be offended and insulted, and I'm not looking to do that right now in my career. I'd rather just keep my mouth shut about a lot of shit and not stir shit up just for the sake of doing it,
So if we see a book from you, your career's over. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess. That would be about the last thing I would do, just because no one's gonna want to work with me or sign me or any of that kind of shit. They're just gonna. Granted, by then, who knows who will be around, or I don't know. It's all circumstantial, but it's definitely a lot of things I would love to say about a lot of things, a lot of people, and all that kind of the trends, the scenes, the quotes, just everything that I see on a daily basis that's not worth talking about now, because there's no reason to. If people aren't going to figure this shit out for themselves, then why should I have to tell it? Why should I be the one to have to say anything? So I'll just wait until it's over with, and then I'll talk about it when it's no longer relevant and no one will care. And
they'll still care because you're saying it.
Maybe.
I'm saying that.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe you'll be the only person who'll buy a copy.
Me and you will meet at freaking Barnes & Noble, and I'll be there at your book signing, man.
I appreciate that.
All right. One more question. I just thought of it. Everybody and their brother has a clothing line. Why don't you?
It's just not. I think doing things like that where you don't belong is insulting to the people who do. I've never tried to paint or sell any art because it's insulting to artists. You know, that's not my thing, and I'm not good at that kind of shit. So rather than trying to paint some picture of something and sell it on eBay for X amount of money, I just don't, because that's fucking dumb. I mean, that's a slap in the face to people who do that as a profession. Clothing lines, there's so many of them right now that you can only put white designs on black t-shirts so many times, and unless it's an upside down cross or, you know, some anti-religious thing, or if it says fuck on it or whatever, it's not going to sell, and that's not the kind of stuff that I want to do. Not talking shit on the people who do that. I mean, I wear stuff like sometimes wear stuff like that, but that's just not what I would want to do, and it's not. I'm solely about music. That's all. I can't get that across enough. I just want to write music, and that is it. And now I'm kind of getting more into like the visual aspect of it, where people don't really realize how much I'm a part of our videos. You know, like they just think, you know, I see a lot of people shit talking people like Clown or Corey or whoever who have done our videos, not realizing that every single thing that our band is, visual, music, every single thing that comes from our band is predominantly me. You know, like what goes on up here, and that's not for any reason other than just the fact that I'm a very creative person, and I can't survive without trying to do that. You know, without that outlet, I'm useless. So that's just the way things are for us.
Well, how much input do you have on like the t-shirt designs and your logo and stuff like that? Are you primarily like?
I wasn't until I became increasingly aware that I did have that. You know, like we were young and dumb when we put out Creatures and When Love Met Destruction and shit like that, and I thought going into that kind of stuff, it was like the label and the management. All these people do all this shit, and you know, in some ways, if not most, that's the reality for a lot of bands, is that they don't. It's more so the aspect of they don't care enough to do that kind of stuff. Like, you know, I know of a band that has 6 shirts in Hot Topic that they don't give a fuck what's on those shirts. They don't give a shit what their videos are. They're just happy to have that stuff in the store, and they're just happy to have a music video. That's cool. That's their thing. But for me, every aspect of our band, from shirts to videos to the online content that our label posts, you know, they used to post shit like, "Hello, little creatures," and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, what the fuck does that mean?" So, you know, I don't have control over everything that they post. If I said that I want certain things, then they'll do it. Yeah. But that kind of stuff, like, you know, like, "Hey, we're playing here tonight. Come out. It's gonna be sick." You know, like, that's whatever. I don't care enough to be like, "Can you not post that?" You know. But there's certain things that I have, and then the t-shirt stuff, I'd say it's like 75-25 where I get involved most of the time, because a portion of it is you want to sell stuff that people want, but then you want to sell the stuff that you want, and it always ends up being that the stuff that I like, and that each person in the band has a role attached with me. You know, I write the music, but Ricky is my partner for that. You know, like, interband wise, me and Ricky work on everything, and we do great work together, and we flow and jive, and everything's great. Visually, I work with Ghost. If it's a t-shirt design or a video idea or an artwork idea, I consult him, and we work together, and it just goes on and on like that. And a lot of the things that me and Ghost want, people don't buy, so it's like a struggle to find what's going to help you have income to the band versus what people are going to like. And you know, I'm certainly involved in that as well as everything else. So, yeah.
Okay, let me close this with one final thought, okay?
All right.
I first met you, Thrash and Burn 2010. Mm-hmm. You guys were so new, you know?
And NEW or NU?
NU, I think. But for what it's worth, coming from little old me at the Relive the Moment, I'm proud of the maturity, the growth that you guys have shown between Creatures and Infamous, and I look forward to wherever you guys are going. Hopefully cover of AP magazine.
Haha.
And
we'll see.
I'm looking forward to whatever's in the future for you guys. So
Thanks, man. I'm hoping within the next year we'll be doing another 40-minute interview talking about the new record that you like or hate and people's reactions to it and shit.
Well, I love you guys. Hopefully everybody that watches this interview loves you guys, and we wish you all the best, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it having me again.
Chris. Thanks, bud.